You know, in our crazy, busy world, where do we even start to look for a real sense of peace? Today, we're diving into a specific chapter from the Quran, Surah Al-Kahf, which tradition says brings not just peace, but a very real, tangible light and protection into your life. We're going to look at the classical narrations that talk about these incredible blessings.
To really get what makes this chapter so special, we have to start with the foundational story. It's this simple, almost cinematic scene that kind of sets the stage for everything else we're about to explore.
And look, this isn't just some nice little parable. This is a report of a direct, tangible encounter. The whole story revolves around one man, his horse, and the simple act of reciting scripture, which leads to something, well, pretty extraordinary.
So try to picture this. You've got this guy totally engrossed in his devotion, his voice just carrying the words of Surah Al-Kahf out into the quiet air.
But as he's reciting, something weird happens. His horse, which was perfectly calm just a moment before, starts getting really skittish and agitated. Something is clearly off, but the man has no idea what it is.
So he stops reciting, right? He looks up, trying to figure out what's spooking his horse. And it's not on the ground, it's up in the sky. It's this cloud, but it's glowing, almost wrapped in light, and it's slowly coming down towards him.
The next morning, he's obviously still thinking about this, right? I mean, who wouldn't be? He goes straight to the Prophet Muhammad and tells him the entire story. He's got to know, what was that? What was that beautiful but kind of unnerving cloud of light?
And the Prophet's response? It gives this incredible phenomenon a name. He explains that it wasn't something to be afraid of. That, he says, was the Sakina, which descended because of the recitation of the Quran.
Okay, so what exactly is this Sakina? I mean, a presence so powerful that an animal can sense it and a person can literally see it? Let's unpack what that concept really means.
Sakina is described as this profound state of peace, tranquility, and reassurance that's sent from God. It's a spiritual state that settles right into the heart, bringing this incredible calm and stillness. The idea that this peace can be so real that it actually shows up as a physical cloud of light, that's totally central to this chapter's significance.
Now, moving on from this really unique mystical experience, the narrations also point to a recurring weekly blessing for those who make reciting this chapter a regular part of their practice.
The sources are super consistent about this. Friday is the ideal time to recite Surah Al-Kahf, and the rewards that are promised are profound. A spiritual light to guide you, and the mercy of forgiveness for minor sins committed during the week.
And the narrations get even more specific, actually distinguishing between reciting at night versus during the day. Reciting on Friday night is said to create a direct beam of light that connects the person all the way to the Kaaba in Mecca. But if you recite it during the day, you get a different kind of illumination, a light that brightens your entire week ahead, from one Friday to the next.
And there's another powerful image to consider. A separate narration describes this light as stretching from the reciter's feet all the way to the heavens. And this light, it said, will serve them on the day of resurrection, lighting up their path when they need it most. Just imagine that.
So we have peace, or Sakina, and we have light. But there's a third major blessing associated with this chapter: protection. Specifically, protection from a figure who is absolutely central to Islamic teachings about the end of time. This figure is known as the Dajjal. In Islamic tradition, he's a false messiah who's prophesied to appear before the end of time, and he'll have incredible powers to deceive and mislead people. His arrival is considered one of the greatest trials humanity will ever face.
So how does this chapter offer protection from that? Well, what's interesting is that different narrations give a few different keys to the same lock. One path is to memorize the first 10 verses. Another suggests reading the last 10 verses. And then there's a third, even more accessible path. Just memorize the first 3 verses. All are mentioned as a powerful safeguard against that great trial.
With all these reported benefits, a really practical question comes up. When exactly is Friday? The sources actually give us a very clear window for this practice. So, in the Islamic calendar, the day actually begins at sunset. This means the time for reciting Surah Al-Kahf to get its Friday blessings starts at sunset on Thursday and continues all the way through until sunset on Friday. That gives you a full 24-hour window to complete the recitation.
So we've seen how this chapter is tied to tranquility, to divine light, and to spiritual protection. And this all leads to a final, really powerful question. The chapter itself tells all these stories about faith in the face of hardship, about searching for knowledge, about building barriers against chaos. So maybe the real insight is asking, why do these specific, ancient narratives hold such profound and protective power for the person who simply recites them today? That's something to reflect on. Thanks for joining us.